Bright primary light, good additional floody and red light LEDs, fast built-in charging, full brightness stabilization and 900 lumens mode which has no step down with some fan cooling. All this is about Nitecore HC65 version 2, the headlamp that I really like. Let's take a closer look at this headlamp. Packages of the latest Nitecore models are definitely way more attractive than the previous ones. The kit includes everything you need: the headlamp itself with a head strap, 18650 battery, Type-C charging cable, a pair of O-rings, a manual and a warranty card. The headlamp is made in a classic T-shaped form factor and has standard size for it, standing out only with a wide front panel with TIR lenses. It certainly looks impressive. You can immediately see that this is a branded item. Head strap is good, not perfect, but just good. The fabric is soft, there is a gel strap inside. No light reflective elements though, I've seen worse and better head straps. Strap of Nitecore UT27 is exactly what I'd like to see in this model. There is the Type-C charging connector at the end of the headlamp. The charge current here is wonderful, so you can charge HC65 version 2 quickly. There is power delivery support. Unfortunately, you cannot use the headlamp while charging. As you can see, the inner diameter here is comparable to the diameter of 21700's battery. I think that Nitecore could add a little bit in diameter and length to make this headlamp work with this capacious battery. And what else? HC65 version 2 is run by one button. As usually, it has a backlight to indicate battery voltage, which is damn convenient, and state of charging process. The button move is mid-deep with a slight click. There is nothing unusual here. Pretty handy button. And here is the interesting part of this headlamp. Let me remind you what the optics of previous version looked like. Now both the near and red additional LEDs have their own TIR lenses. This is the whole plastic panel with lenses without glass covering it. This may repel someone, but I have been using a headlamp with a plastic lens front panel for like 3 years now and I absolutely have no problems with plastic cover. Don't be afraid of it, guys, it might be better, I mean glass upon plastic, but it is still okay as it is. Just here is how this looks like alive. User interface is good, but it has a little specific feature, not in the sense when reviewers say specific instead of bad. What I mean is that when you click button you turn on moonlight mode by default, and if you hold button you turn last used mode. Usually that's vice versa. I don't know why Nitecore changed the well-known user interface, but that's still okay as you have an instant access to moonlight and to last used mode both. What about runtime and stabilization? Nitecore haven't surprised me in such a good way for a long time. The headlamp perfectly reacts to any cooling, the brightness grows, the stabilization gets better. So just take a look at the runtime charts and see for yourself. I didn't really expect the headlamp to perform that good, so that's why it's so sad that HC65 version 2 doesn't support 21700's batteries, with which the runtime would be really impressive. I also have no reasons to complain about light itself, about modes, spacing. Of course, I would prefer the main LED not to be cold white, to have 5000 Kelvin's color temperature, which is no problem for SST40 LED. The headlamp would be just a little bit insignificantly less bright, but it would get rid of the little bit greenish light tint and just look way better overall. But as is, Nitecore HC65 version 2 gives excellent light in terms of maximum brightness and unexpectedly good light in terms of throw. You can easily highlight an object which is like 100 meters away from you in case of need. Both additional flood and red light LEDs are quite convenient for close range work. The red light mode here is very bright, and which is extremely rare, has 2 levels of brightness. And overall impressions, of course, are positive. It has absolutely everything that can attract an ordinary user. It has impressive turbo mode with runtime far from decorative blitz of super bright headlamps. The correct work of thermal control, which will give you visible effect when work outside with some wind cooling, not to mention working in winter. Fast 2 amperes Type-C charging, a very convenient user interface, additional floody light for near range work, 2 levels of bright red light, but still there are a pair of disadvantages for me personally. The first one is completely expected, the cold light of the primary LED. That is not a problem for a lot of users though. The second disadvantage is that I'm sure that this headlamp certainly deserves a way more capacious 21700 battery. So it's not sort of a disadvantage, it's sort of there is something to improve. So if we talk about big brands, about 18650 headlamps for an ordinary user, then I tend to think that this headlamp is most likely to be the best one on the market now, at least of the ones that I've had in my hands over last couple of years. It's not cheap, of course, but for the price you get everything you can possibly get. Actually, I think that even an advanced and sophisticated user will find Nitecore HC65 version 2 a pretty good headlamp. Okay, I've said a lot of sweet words about this model, so I have to remind that those who constantly read and watch my review may notice that I'm far from being enthusiastic about a lot of expensive models, also Nitecore models, and criticize them for a lot of features that I don't like. So I'm honest, guys, this headlamp is really good. That's why it was so pleasant to finally say something that I hadn't really said for a long time, and now I'm ready to say it. Well done, Nitecore, well done. This is a damn good headlamp. If you've got this headlamp, please share your opinion with other viewers. If you don't, just do the same. That's all, guys. Bye.